Well, good morning, everybody. This is Don Limited here, and we're actually going to make a slight different change of pace on tonight's or this morning's stream. Well, basically, I had a customer that stopped in here the other day. He wasn't really here for computer business. He just wanted to sit and shoot the bucket and talk about cars and stuff like that. So it was actually a very rather interesting conversation. And then I'd say he was good, or he was here for about a good hour and a half. And he says, "You ever thought about discontinuing being a Mopar guy and driving a Honda?" And I'm like, I did like some of the looks of the Honda Accords and the Honda CRVs. And he says, "You ever think about just getting one of those and ditching Chrysler altogether?" And I'm like, not exactly something I would do at this time. I said, I'm pretty much set with vehicles that I currently have. I've only had the van or the minivan for a year. I figure I can get another 9 years out of it yet. Other than I gotta check engine light that's on, but all the fluids are up where they're supposed to be, and the car is performing as normal and well as it should be. So basically, I never really put much thought into buying a Honda. I'd actually rather have an American car than a foreign because I got burned on that Infiniti i30. I bought it about 5 years ago in September. I bought it from an instructor at a technical college. And the only reason that he sold that car was it would not pass emissions tests in the county that he lived in. I'm lucky in Mansfield County they don't have emissions testing because if it did, I wouldn't be able to get that car licensed or any other vehicles I got lingering around. So basically, started out that he took it to a place called Bergstrom. And yes, their service department is very unreputable because well, I'll just put it this way. They said that I needed a new $900 swirl valve. Swirl valve was probably only about $100, but the labor would be about $800 because what would be involved was that they'd have to drop the motor out of the car. Actually, yeah, you'd have to drop it out in order to get to the swirl valve. No, actually, I think they'd have to hoist the engine out. Now, if it was a van or something or an SUV, then they'd have to drop it out. But since it's in a sedan format, they'd have to take out the engine to get to the swirl valve. If you can do the work yourself, that's fantastic. But one, you got to have a hoist, and you got to have all the major auto tools, and some of those foreign cars have totally different style nuts, different style bolts and screws and stuff like that. So there's a local garage that's just down the street from my house, and I always see the Snap-on truck. They're just about every other day. I see the Mack tool truck. They're every other day. I see even the I think it's Proton or Proto brand tool truck going over there. So some of those vehicles use totally bizarre sizing of screws and nuts and bolts, and you would think that the car companies would use one standard style. And some of the engineering that goes behind some of the cars is just it blows your socks off. Like a lot of your foreign cars, everything in the engine is so tight and so hard to get to. But like if you work in a Mopar product, everything's easy to get to and straightforward. But I have to admit, not every single car is perfect. Some are built better than others. And it also depends on how you take care of your vehicles. If you don't take care of your vehicles and you just drive them until they die, they're not going to last you very long. You got to keep up with your oil changes, anything that breaks on car check engine lights. And I guess I'm kind of guilty of not always keeping on top of all that. Oil changes, yes. Sometimes the check engine lights is just a computer module that's out. But basically, with a lot of cars, even nowadays, your cars from like 50, 60, 70 years ago, you didn't have all the electronics on those cars. It was all mechanical, basically. And a lot of those cars could run forever with the proper care and proper maintenance and proper and timely oil changes and fluid changes and that. But a lot of cars of today, with all the circuit boards and the computers that are on the cars, and all the smart technology and auto stop technology, and if half of those sensors go out, or the main brains of the computer on your car goes out, you're pretty much up a creek without a paddle. Sometimes the car is not drivable in that case, and sometimes it's more expensive to repair it than it is just to buy another vehicle that's used. So in that case, if you do end up going out and buying a brand new car, you don't have to have a fully loaded vehicle. You don't need leather seats and you don't need wood grain trim on your interior. You don't need 22-inch rims on your vehicle or SUVs. Personally, I think the 22-inch rims are kind of dumb because you're getting less tire, you're getting less sidewall. So I don't understand why you wouldn't want that. Besides, with steel rims or steel wheels, they have a bad tendency of leaking. So personally, I would rather have the steel wheels. Tires are a lot cheaper. Labor is excruciatingly cheaper. Sure, it's not nice looking at hubcaps, and everybody loves their chrome wheels, or, or but it's steel. The steel wheels. If you ever got to do maintenance to them, it's just easier than the rims, or than the fancy rims that. Well, what I'm getting at is, I've had a car for a little while. I didn't put it under my name. It was under somebody else's I was using for a while. But when it came to driving it, that was a Focus that had from like it was a second generation Ford Focus. It was a fully loaded, or I would say it's close to being fully loaded. But the steel rims, tire pressure is always going down. I was never able, most of the time, I was never able to keep it above 35 pounds of pressure. A lot of times it would go down to like 26 pounds, 24 pounds. And that was pretty much on a regular basis. No, it wasn't because I ran over nails or any or debris or punctured the tire. But the problem is it's just those rims aren't perfect and sometimes they get warped over time and they don't hold air perfectly. But enough about focuses and stuff like that. Another interesting topic that came into the picture was why would you choose a van over an SUV? And actually, that was actually kind of hard question to answer to my customer. And the reason that it was a difficult one was, yeah, I like some of the SUVs, I like the looks of the Ford Escapes between 2013 and 2016, especially with the dark gray or the magnetic gray color scheme that Ford made available for a lot of the cars. I thought the 2016 was the between 2016 and 2013 package, like the SE with the magnetic gray. I thought that was very. I thought I made a good statement. That color, personally, with Ford products. But the only downfall to those those SUVs now is they're not even a 2 liter. They're only like 1.5 or 1.6. You can't really tow anything with the new Ford Escapes. The earlier ones from like 2001 up to like 2012, you could get one. You can get like one with a V6 on there, but I don't know how much you could actually tow with one of those. I'd be kind of curious myself to see if it's actually has the capability. But my main reasoning for a van was you can actually set it up the way you want it. You can put tubs and you can put shelving in it to accommodate your needs. And a lot of times you can pick up an older Grand Caravan or just a trailer portion of it and then have it moved to whatever location or house or something that you would like it to. And then it's up to the individual how they want to car shop. And but personally with the van, like with the Dodge Caravan, mine has a 3.3 liter V6, so I can tow 2,600 pounds. But you also have to include the weight of your passengers in the vehicle because a lot of times people don't factor that out and they could spring the frame of the van by pulling too heavy of a trailer for that. And then a lot of the other major dilemma is if you have an all-wheel drive vehicle and that system goes out, chances are it'd either be cheaper just to buy a different motor at that point, or what you want to do is just kind of not put it on the curbside, but it's kind of interesting why people do some of the things they do with mowers. And but personally, wait, what am I even talking about now? Well, yeah, that's what I was talking cars, not mowers. It's been kind of a long day today. A lot of driving around and running errands and working in that. Well, when you're picking vehicles out, you always want to pick one that's reliable. If you're going down to the dealer, don't let the dealer manipulate you into anything. Problem is, there's certain dealers like Petrosky GM of Manitowoc. That place is kind of, it's not really meant for the working man. It's the kind of place that like high class people would go. It's not a place I would preferably go. It's kind of, well, it's just not a place I'd preferably go to Van Horn establishment, especially the one down in Sheboygan. That place is huge. You got your Chevy dealer, you got your Ford, you got your Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram. And then if you can't find what you're looking for there, you got your Subaru, you got your Toyota, you got your Honda, Nissans, Volkswagen, you name it. They have, if you can't find what you're looking for down in Sheboygan, then it's not meant to be. Plus, on top of that, you got Vandenhafers of Chilton. They got a decent lineup of cars out there. It's, and then once you get there, you always want to test drive the vehicle, take it out on the highway, take it out on the road, take it around for a while just to kind of get a feel for what you're getting. Because the problem is you don't want to buy a car and not test it because you're kind of taking a chance. And the major thing I look at is when I'm buying a car is, one, you gotta make sure it's user friendly. Two, you gotta make sure that it's easy for you to get in and out of. If you're picking out a vehicle that is difficult to get in and out of, it totally defeats the purpose. Now, personally, the reason I like the Dodge Caravans a lot is the fuel economy for being a V6 is not bad. My van gets about 27 miles to the gallon, but that's because it was upgraded with Bosch spark plugs and Mobil 1 oil and a K&N air filter, and it works fine. I get decent gas economy. I can't really complain for it being a van. And I get a lot of use out of the vehicle. It's my daily runner for job consulting, doing computer work, being on the road, using it at the church. With like a van or an SUV, you can lay out all your tools in the back, or if you're working on something outside, you can use as like a workbench. And if you get an SUV with the V6 in it, you can tow trailers and stuff around. So if you buy a Grand Caravan nowadays, you get the 3.6 liter V6, and you can haul up to 3,600 pounds with a Dodge Caravan, or Grand Caravan rather. Now, some of the earlier Grand Caravans, some only offer 3.3, some offered a 3.8 liter. But the real strange kicker was when they had like the Dodge Journey, for instance, you can only haul up to 2,500 pounds with, it's only rated up to 2,500 pounds of the 3.6 V6. You would think that would be a little bit more than But I guess beggars can't be choosers when it comes to the SUV, because part of the factor in that is the all-wheel drive system takes a certain amount of abundance to run in, stuff like that. But personally, you can get by with an older vehicle. You don't have to have new. You can buy a certified used one, and sometimes there's not a lot you can do with it. But so on. So as far as like the van is more family orientated or be excellent for contractors. SUVs, now they make some that are front wheel drive. The problem in the wintertime with the front wheel drive is sometimes you get stuck, or if you're on the road somewhere, sometimes you might potentially get stuck. But personally, if you're gonna go the truck route, don't just buy a truck as a luxury vehicle, and you don't need to have the most fanciest pickup truck either. You can get by with just a tradesman truck. You don't need a luxury truck. You don't need a fully loaded truck. Just a nice, just like even like a Ford or Chevy or Dodge. Or if you want to venture out and try Toyotas or Nissan trucks. Personally, if I was getting a Dodge truck, I would definitely get a Cummins diesel with like the 5.9 Cummins, or like the Chevy with their Detroit diesel 6.5, or the 6.2, or the Duramax diesel. So I guess you could say I'm kind of all over the place when it comes to the cars and stuff like that, but there are better channels out there that talk more in depth on cars and what's good and what's bad. I'm not really an expert on cars and stuff. I I've made whack job repairs on my own car, but it's it's an interesting topic to get into, but I don't really have a lot of major expertise in vehicles and stuff like that. But I hope everybody enjoyed this different pace of video making for tonight. So, God bless everybody. Stay safe. Enjoy the weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.